All right, guys, big victory for the Raptors over the Bucks. This is the Hoops Nerd post-game show. I can't tell you how big a victory this is for the Toronto Raptors. This is a victory that looks like it might have changed the series. Obviously, last game was a close one, and it pulled it out. It really, honestly saved the Raptors season. This game looked like it might have won the series. And the reason is because the Raptors have kind of figured out a way to stop Giannis. Like, tonight, Giannis has, and we say stop Giannis. Tonight, Giannis scores 25 points, and we act like that's like a bad game. That's how incredible Giannis is. But the Bucks have figured out some ways to slow him down. And when the Bucks are not getting contributions from other players outside of Giannis, and tonight Khris Middleton had a nice game for 30 points. But when the Bucks aren't getting big games from like Eric Bledsoe and Malcolm Brogdon and George Hill, they really struggle to score against this Toronto Raptors team. And that is the thing that's really happening in this series, in these last two games, that you got to be excited about if you're a Raptors fan, is the Raptors defense is really slowly figuring things out with the Milwaukee Bucks. We saw this happen with the Philadelphia 76ers when the Raptors went down and it looked like Embiid went off and just destroyed him in that. I can't remember if it was game 3 or game 5. But the Raptors figured it out. Marc Gasol came back and just put Embiid to bed. And we're kind of seeing that again this series, where Marc Gasol in game 2 looked dejected, and it was a big story that he kind of like didn't show up and didn't have the fire and passion that he wanted. He comes back in that game, I believe game 3, where he hits some threes and has a nice game. Tonight has a nice game as well. But what was nice is that the Raptors get other contributions from other players on the team. So you've got the defense playing at an incredible rate, holding those ancillary players like Brogdon and George Hill, who I believe had 5 points tonight, to small games, and then containing as best you can Giannis, and then also Middleton, who had a nice night tonight, but they're able to stop them enough to get the win. Tonight they blow them out. This looks like a team that's like on a roll, has figured some things out. Now, if you're the Bucks, you've got to make some adjustments and find a way to get Giannis more involved and get him more active and free. And I don't know if it's home referees in Toronto or what, but you've got to do something to figure it out, because if you go to Milwaukee and you play this same game that you played in Toronto, you're going to lose, because the Raptors are figuring out a formula to stop the Bucks. Ibaka was massive tonight, and I think that's about as big a story as anything. The two guys that really are showing up, well, three guys really, they just had a really great game from a lot of people, but Kyle Lowry was phenomenal tonight, scores 25 points. Let's see. Tonight, Kyle Lowry, 25 points on 6 for 11, 3 for 7 from 3, and 10 for 10 from the line. Kyle Lowry was awesome. Marc Gasol was absolutely solid with 17 points, but then you've got a big game from Serge Ibaka, who absolutely is figuring things out and playing at a high level. And when you've got Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka playing at a high level, if you get a good game from anyone, whether it's Kyle Lowry or Pascal Siakam outside of Kawhi, who's a freaking cyborg. I swear he's got a leg injury and they just pulled out his thigh and added like a T1000 thigh muscle back into his leg, and he's good to go because he's a robot and a cyborg and he kills everyone like we talked about at will. He's unreal. But the Raptors have just figured it out, and when they get these contributions from these ancillary players, they win. They're really good. It's really when those outside role players don't play well that they struggle. But when they play really well, the Raptors are as good as anybody, and they can beat the Bucks, and they've now proven it. I think before tonight, the Bucks have only lost 2 games in a row, like once all season. Now it's twice, and it's against the Raptors. And they've never lost this year 3 games in a row. Is that what happens in Milwaukee next game? Because if the Raptors beat them in Milwaukee, that'll never have happened this whole season. So if you're the Bucks, you better adjust. Tonight you had a nice game from Khris Middleton, who had 30 points, but outside of that, you really didn't get big contribution from anyone. They only had double-digit scoring from Giannis and Middleton, and then the third player was Nikola Mirotic with 11 points. That's not going to win, especially if the Raptors are playing well. So in Milwaukee, they better figure it out, and they better figure out a way to slow down the Raptors. But the Raptors' offense was just hitting on all cylinders tonight, and their defensive schemes are working. All right, guys, that's all I got to say. Big time win for the Raptors. Like and subscribe this channel. And if you like it, share it with your friends on Reddit, on blogs, wherever, social media. I would appreciate it. Talk to you later.